Hey there, shortcuts. This is Stephen here with a second list that will go out as part of the full price list for shortcuts. 29, which will be in your inboxes 9 p.m. sharp this Wednesday, August 6th. For those of you who aren't aware, this is the preview of the records that will be on the price list. Drop me an email at shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com if you'd like to be part of it. Now, this is a genre list. So we have jazz and funk and soul and heavy metal. Jazz, I mentioned jazz. There's maybe some blues in there too. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. And it was super tough to decide where to start with this. When you guys see what's in here, you'll understand why this was super tough. I've actually decided to start with my personal favorite record from this list, and it is a new discovery. It is this. I'm not sure many of you will know this record. This is Flood by Herbie Hancock. This is the Japanese first press. Look at that. Hard cardboard gatefold. Now, what is Flood and why would it be my favorite on this list when you see what's in here? This was recorded and released initially only in Japan. And now that has changed really recently. There are a few presses that are out there now on colored vinyl. Some record labels in the US have found this record and have pressed it. I haven't heard those. I've just read reviews. I'll put it like this. I'll be very surprised if they're anything like the sound quality of this. What's so great about my friends in Shinjuku is they know that this is the sort of thing that I would like. So they put 2 copies in the box. So I've got one and there's this one. I've had it for probably 6 weeks. I know a few of you who've been round my place will have heard some of it. Was so interesting. So this was a tour of Japan that was arranged in 1975. This is peak Herbie Hancock and the Headhunters. So this is after Thrust, after Headhunters itself, 10 years after really Herbie Hancock had finished up with Miles Davis, and Herbie at this point has fully immersed himself in electric fusion funk. And whilst he is incredibly dexterous across many genres, from Maiden Voyage through to pick your choice, this era is, I think, his most interesting. And to go from being a classical prodigy to being, on some of the greatest jazz records of all time, to then really leading and being the vanguard of a new genre is just pretty incredible. Now, this record focuses on that classic Headhunters era. So you've got Maiden Voyage, although the Maiden Voyage is a little bit of an outlier. It's really beautiful, and I'm really glad it's there. But it is an outlier because after that, you've got Actual Proof from Thrust. You've got Spanka Lee from Thrust. You've got Watermelon Man from Headhunters. Butterfly Chameleon from Headhunters, probably the greatest jazz fusion track ever. And Hang Up Your Hang-Ups, which is the whole of side 4. Now, this is Bernie Maupin on saxophone, who is stellar the whole way through this. The guitarist is Blackbird McKnight. I kind of sometimes wish the guitar would be almost higher in the mix, but I guess that's just not the way this band works. It's so great. Absolutely love it. It takes really familiar tracks that you might have and just stretches them a little bit. It was really popular in Japan. I have no idea why this wasn't given a worldwide release. I mean, it really should have done. It's absolutely brilliant. It's so rhythmic. The rhythm section is, as you might imagine, just a holy moly. It's so good. I think the whole package is just crazy. You know, if someone does buy this, and I really hope someone does, just listen to the drumming on Actual Proof. Oh my god. The Japanese jazz press at the time, Swing Journal and others, raved about this record, put it number one on their lists. Interestingly, as I was doing the research, the flood that became the name of this title was the band's internal nickname for how they would feel when they would be in that place and they were rising and it was all coming. The flood of ideas without any dam holding them back. That is some record. And to twin with this, I've actually put the US, I think this is US first press, I'm going to double check, US first press of Thrust. Now, I've chosen Thrust because really Thrust is the backbone of Flood. More than Headhunters, I think. The, Actual Proof, Spankalee, Butterfly, all of these are on Flood. And I absolutely think that having the studio versions and then having those live versions is such a pleasure that I've actually put this together in the hope that someone will buy both and go on that journey that I've been on, because it's pretty bloody great music. All right. When you see what's coming next and you realize what I what I put ahead of this, I'm almost like Thrust deserved to be an opening record just on its own. And the groove that is Palm Grease didn't even make it onto Flood. That's why Thrust and Flood together, I think, are just landmark records. I'll check whether this is US or not, and I will come back, because I vaguely remember Bernie Grundman did the US version of Thrust, and the US version is the one that I have, because I remember writing to the folks in Shinjuku saying this US press is awesome, which is probably why they've put a second one in there. All right, ready for this? This is the Japanese press of Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life. It's fully OB'd. It's got the book. It's got the EP. But it also has, for those of you who are eagle-eyed, this, which is an unplayed Japanese first press of the single of Sir Duke, which was in Japan the biggest hit off the album. And the B-side is He's Mr. Know-It-All. I can't quite remember whether He's Mr. Know-It-All is on the record. I suspect it is. I'm just going to double check whilst I've got it open here. Maybe it's not. No, I think it's a non-album track. Here's the gatefold. Songs in the Key of Life. Nikita, I hope you don't mind me mentioning your name. Nikita from the club passed by my place earlier today, picking up a record or two, and we gave this a bit of a listen. So I'm just going to show you the EP. So this is the EP that sits with the double album. This has got Saturn, Brown Eyes, All Day Sucker, Easy Going Evening, kind of an additional 4 tracks. Hey, the creativity, the kaleidoscope of ideas and execution that Stevie Wonder was on in this run of records is just mind-boggling. It really is. I probably without precedent, considering the guy was playing nearly every instrument himself, writing every song. It's really special stuff. Songs in the Key of Life with Sir Duke, the Japanese single. Look at that. There's the little sleeve with the lyrics to all the tracks on the back. And then in here is the original holder that it came in. It's absolutely wonderful. And there's the Obi. I suspect you all know Songs of the Key of Life. I mean, it came from Inner Visions and Talking Book, fulfilling this final finale and others. It's just amazing. Amazing. All right. Now, I've got some heavy metal. This is a change of pace. Now, many of you will be aware of Rainbow. We've had Rainbow Rising on this list quite a few times. Now, for the first time, I've got Rainbow's third album, Long Live Rock and Roll. This is in pristine condition. Hard cardboard gatefold. The notes that I have is that the folks in Shinjuku think that this has never been played. Having had a look at it, I think I would have to agree. Rainbow's third album. This followed on from Rainbow Rising, the last Rainbow record to feature Mr. Ronnie James Dio. Now, you've got Cozy Powell on drums. You've obviously got Richie Blackmore. It's like a who's who of 70s kind of superstars. When I was researching this, what I found interesting was Kerrang! Magazine launched in 1981, and its debut issue had a list of what it considered to be the 100 greatest heavy metal records of all time. Rainbow Rising was number 1, and Long Live Rock and Roll was number 23. When they revisited the list at the end of the decade in 1989, Physical Graffiti from Led Zeppelin had overtaken Rainbow Rising as number 1. I don't know where Long Live Rock and Roll ended up, but there are some similarities with Zeppelin. I always draw that comparison with Rainbow, and here you've definitely got some like Indian kaleidoscopic stuff, which kind of reminds me of Kashmir from Physical Graffiti. I also have this, which is Rainbow Down to Earth, the follow-up to Long Live Rock and Roll, and this time you've got Graham Bonnet on vocals, and again, just a really strong heavy rock album, complete with Obi, again in lovely, lovely, lovely condition. Well worth anyone's time. All right, let's get a little bit of soul and jazz and blues going here. This is a cute little thing. This is a 10-inch. A 10-inch. I'm going to have to do a bit of research on exactly what the hell this is, but you can see it's the Best of Ray Charles. It looks to me, it's clearly I would say this is a 60s pressing. I'm going to have to, as I said, do my research, but this is super cute. It's a little Atlantic 10-inch, and it's on an Atlantic version of their label I've never seen before. And it's got what I'd say, Hallelujah, Leave My Woman Alone, I'm Moving On. It's got Swanee River, classic, The Right Time. It's really interesting. So I don't know if there's anyone out there who's into unusual, rare 10-inch records, but that is something I'll do a little bit more digging on. Ray Charles. It's got this little thing in the back. I don't even know what that is. That might be there by mistake, because that looks like the Platters. But anyway, I will figure it out before Wednesday. Man, there's some great jazz that the Japanese have sent me in the last little while. This is the Miles Davis. It's called the Golden Grand Prix 30. It was a series that the Japanese did in the mid-70s. And this is one of these magazine kind of records. So it's got pictures and stories and stuff. What's really interesting about this record is it runs the gamut. It takes you through that acoustic jazz period. So you've got Walkin', you've got All Blues, you've got On Green Dolphin Street. It then leads you up into, as I meant, oh, you just heard on Green Officer, but it leads you up into kind of blue. So you've got So What, you've got Round Midnight, you've got Milestones. And then on the second LP, because this is a double LP, you then get into ESP, you get In a Silent Way, Sanctuary, Black Satin, Maisha. So it is leading you on the journey of Miles Davis all the way through to his electric fusion period. And the reason that I'm going to actually pull this one forward, because you've got this kind of incredible studio compilation, the likes of which really the Japanese can do. This is the best Miles Davis best of I've ever seen. I mean, it is really that good. But it leads to this period where the creativity of Miles Davis was on a par with Stevie Wonder. And he took this band on tour in Japan and released, I think, 2 or 3 live double LPs only in Japan off the back of it. This is the most famous of them alongside Pangea. This is called Agartha. It's a hard cardboard gatefold. That's Miles. But this is a live album that includes the theme from Jack Johnson, Maisha, that's on this record, which is why I pulled it out. And it is just a complete mind trip. I love it. I got it about 2 years ago now. I think I've had 4 copies over the years. Agartha. Miles Davis going off his rocker with the most crazy live band. 2 guitarists. There's some of the songs you don't even hear Miles Davis. He's just conducting his band like an orchestra. You kind of got to hear it to believe it, really. It's that good. There were a couple of little, let me see if I can get some little snippets I gathered up about Agartha when I was, it was recorded in Osaka, 1975. I mean, it is, it's almost gospel music to me. It's completely crazy. It's sprawling. You just put it on and go on a trip. One of the wildest jazz records ever made, I think. And I'm just going to double check that. This might be a first press. Oh, maybe not. It might be a repress. I know they did quite a few different versions. But anyway, please dig into that if you don't know it. I've got a record now that is another Japan-only release and is one of Japan's favourite jazz records. And I'd never heard of it. And it's called Elvin Jones and McCoy and the McCoy Tyner Quintet, and it's called Love and Pace. And there they are. Elvin Jones, McCoy Tyner, they weren't just collaborators, they were in many ways part of the architecture of that John Coltrane sound, and they created stellar careers of their own off the back of their time with John Coltrane. I think Elvin Jones is one of the most volcanic drummers alongside Art Blakey, and McCoy Tyner's piano is just beautiful. It's really kind of vital and cohesive. It's just a lot of fun. Only released in Japan. It's a total hidden gem for those of you who are into Japan. And they record, because it's got that record in Japan sound. It's so crazy. They're so good at capturing piano in particular. It's brilliant. And really quite bluesy in places too. Love. Talking about blues, this is one of my favorite blues records. This is The Pious Bird of Good Omen by Fleetwood Mac. This is a compilation of the best of that late 60s flourishing period of Peter Green, Jeremy Spencer, Danny Kirwan, John McVie, and Mick Fleetwood. Shake Your Money Maker, Need Your Love So Bad, My Heart Beat Like a Hammer, Ramblin' Pony. It's just great. For those of you who haven't explored this early bluesy Fleetwood Mac era, please do yourself some justice. It's well worth it. Now, I had some great jazz or reggae compilations a little while back. I've got another really nice one here. This is on the Island label. Island really did embrace reggae. So you've got Bob Marley, Third World Jimmy Cliff, Steel Pulse, I Am Man. It's a really lovely compilation. I'm I'm gonna have to skip through that. I had some more notes prepared, but I'm gonna go a little bit faster because I'm gonna run out of time. What about the man himself, James Brown? Everybody's doing the hustle and dead on the double bump. Super bad, super slick. This is James Brown, mid-70s, just going off, doing his thing. This is after Payback. It's after Hell. It's after that era. A little bit more layered, kind of female backing vocals, but signature on the groove moves by JB. There aren't very many bad records that he made in the 70s, and that is not one of them. I'm just going to call this one out very quickly. I really like Oliver Nelson, and this is one of his, probably if not his most famous record that he did on Impulse. It's a gatefold. The story of the record in the notes here is really, really nice. Stolen Moments, Cascades. So you've got Oliver Nelson, Eric Dolphy, Freddie Hubbard, George Barrow, Bill Evans, Paul Chambers, and Roy Haynes on drums. The Bill Evans and Eric Dolphy kind of intertwine is crazy. There are some pure fire Eric Dolphy moments on this record. Really, really interesting and kind of symphonic sound. Now, this is something I have not seen in my time from Japan. This is the 1981 press of Sketches of Spain by Miles Davis, where he worked with Gil Evans. You'll notice the obi, and you'll also notice it's still sealed. So that's rare. This has come in the box, and whoever cracks this open will be playing that one for the first time. Miles Davis, Sketches of Spain. I suppose Sketches of Spain is in his kind of upper echelon. Released 1960. Features some music by Spanish composer Joaquin Rodrigo, and some that you will 100% recognize. Now, this is not Miles Davis going on a blowing session. This is mellow, cinematic, really lush. I know some of the reviews were a bit pissy at the time, but I really like it. And that's a sealed copy from 1981. All right. We have a few more records to go. A couple of kind of, I suppose you would call them shortcuts, not quite royalty. One royalty for sure. And then there's this. This record's just super hard to find. I've now found myself with a couple of copies, so I've got a spare. It is Original Folk Blues by the Howlin Wolf. Chester Burnett, born in Mississippi and raised on the music of Charlie Patton and the other kind of blues musicians at the time. This Howlin Wolf cannot be over described. An absolute towering legend. This was a 1965 compilation that brought together a bunch of the songs that he did with Chess in the 50s into the early 60s with RPM. And whilst you might be fooled by the title of the album as Original Folk Blues, and you might think this is a kind of coffee house music, you are in for a shock. This is raw, electric, urban blues, howls and stomps and slide guitar that kind of slides off the beat all the time. Moan at Midnight, Smokestack Lightning. This thing is a beast of a record. The Howlin' Wolf original folk blues. Yeah, it's pretty special. Talking pretty special, this is Shortcuts royalty, the best of Otis Redding, complete with book and everything you need. Amazing record, sounds great, one of the most popular records in the history of the club, as is this, Soulville by the mighty Ben Webster. If you want to have jazz music that just makes you smile and makes you feel good and just sets a mood, and will have people in the room that you're put it on going, what is that? That's really good. That's Soulville. It's fantastic. Please give it a listen. If you've never listened, you gotta do it. The Ben Webster Quintet, Soulville, absolute stone cold verve classic. To finish the list, so there you have Otis Redding, Ben Webster, the Howlin' Wolf, Oliver Nelson, James Brown, Fleetwood Mac, all the way up to Stevie Wonder, and Herbie Hancock at the top. Please, if you have any questions, let me know. Please like, comment, all that kind of stuff, because it actually does make a difference. And if you would like to be on the price list for any of these records, drop me an email, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. Thank you.